This might be one of the first ever made. Ever since I saw this one on eBay, I just wanted to start soaking it because it's just been so...
You can already see it going in.
Yeah, it has a very, very old early serial number that's not even stamped correctly, and it's been approved by the Norton Owners Club as genuine. So this one's been through the wars in Idaho, America, I believe. It's just getting these bolts which have been sitting, I don't know how many years this has been sitting around, this poor thing. Whoa. And whoa, there she goes. Well, look at that. These obviously just got hacked off. Oh man, that is so nice. Look at that. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be back on the Norton, which is great because it's been, bought the bike, I can't believe it, I bought the bike 3 or 4 years ago. So worked on it solidly as the main restoration project at that time for maybe a year. So we did, as you can see from these videos, we did quite a lot of work, particularly in the paint side. So things got in the way and there were a few comments made, really nice, people saying, when are you going to get the Commando back on again? So we're back on. And I've already done a little bit of work. It's been more mechanical stuff, going through all the parts and working on each particular piece and then listing it as replace or repair. So it's just a matter of chipping away at the big block from all the bolts, the nuts, what have to be nickel plated, what have to be replaced. Because this one is an interesting one. I really don't want to compromise on this one. I don't think I want that much patina on this bike because of its pedigree. It was so far gone, as you can see, that really there's no patina to want to keep here. So you've got to either decide to leave it as it is. So for historical records, particularly because it's such a rare color scheme, that color scheme needs to be brought back again. You'll see the latest Commandos from Norton have produced a Norton Commando with that silver orange color scheme. So it's clearly still something that might not be that popular, but is still very much part of the signature of the early Commandos. We're going to get it as close to that. So stick around. Some interesting bits and pieces. Please subscribe if you can, if it's of any interest to you, because the subscriptions help the monetization side of things. And all, as I said before in many of my videos, all this money goes straight back into components. And I am a little squeezed at the moment, so the amount of money that I can put into all these replacement parts are going to depend very much on what YouTube produces. Let's get on with it. I hope there's something that you can learn, and certainly if you've got any comments, put them down below. If you see something I'm doing wrong, do not hesitate. I'm also learning on these bikes. So bear in mind this is a 68 February manufactured, so it's in the first week. And they did things slightly different to a little bit later on, like what they polished, what they didn't polish of the aluminium. It's very important. If you know that level of detail, then please make your comments known. There are certainly people out there that were either working at the factory or experts on the Norton Commando of that era. It's a very unique bike in the fleet. It was still being tried and tested, and as you would, it was a lot of bug fixing going on in that first 2 weeks. Also, a lot of the feedback from Berliner was influencing the manufacture of the later bikes. This is a good time to actually describe the differences between the 72 or from 71 onwards, probably even 1969 and the early one. And I think you can see straight off the bat, this is what they call the Widowmaker frame, because later on they put this modification in underneath to stop any front fork collapse, which was apparently an issue. There is a, yeah, this is the old style stand, and they did away with it. We'll see what that looks like. What Duncan had to do on this one, which was typical problem with these, is the tanks. There's two problems with these frames, and they didn't sort them out throughout their lifetime. One was the amount of corrosion you get around the tank sitting on this big tube, which is quite thin, you say, Max?
1 mil.
1 mil thin, so very thin, but fairly structurally firm. The other issue was this extended tail. But now you have been, was yours rusted here, Duncan?
Yeah, rusted through.
That's interesting, because normally what happens is that they snap here or they bend here from too much weight on the rear, which is what we did. We can see there's a slight bulbous section here. They normally bend on this section because there's nothing to hold this frame up at the rear. Whereas yours is actually original and looks like it hasn't been repaired along here. You've done a nice job on that. So there you go. That's the difference as the evolution of this motorcycle. So with that, let's get onto it, and I'll see you on the other side. Today I'm going to be splitting the case. I have to get in here. There's a sieve inside here that collects all the debris and the sludge. I'm going to have to apply some heat here. One of the challenges we've got with this engine right away is getting this gear off. And it is basically a gripper. There we go. Right, so the bearing is off, and the next phase is going to be to take these off so that we can check the linings on these. If there's any doubts, I'm going to get them redone, because to open this engine up is a nightmare. And then we'll take these off and we'll go and check the sludge pipe, so that I'm absolutely sure these are going to be it's going to be blocked in there. So, and if that blocks up, what it does is it blocks up the pipes that send oil, vital oil, to these liners on the big end. And if they go dry, even though the oil would slush around here, they just don't go inside, because the chamber is blocked. And I did find some sludge in here already. It's thick sludge, so I'm very sure that, being such an old Commando, and I don't know the history of the maintenance on this engine, we'll just take it off. So that's not going to work, so I've got to figure out a plan how I get these off. Also, you notice there's little dimples there. This is what the engineers do, is they punch two points or 1 point on each side of the nut, which compresses the nut's thread. And what that does is then it's like a form of Loctite. These nuts are done, they're toast. They're going to have to come off. As it is, they've already been used a few times. I assume these are the original ones. That's broken off. This is what happens when you don't have experience in these things. You're really going by your instinct. Now, I thought this gave me access to the punch that pushed out the bearing, which was set here on this side of the seal. But actually, this is part of the aluminium casing. So I've just absolutely knackered that. So I'm going to have to get this welded back in again. Just an additional cost. very frustrating. Not good, not a good day. We've just got this side to put in. There she is. Quite easy to move it around. Okay, that'll do for now, because I'm going to take it apart because I'm going to spray it. But I just want to check and see that this is all working. See, there's a kink here. Yeah, that's nice and straight. Oh, that's going to bug me. So now I'm going to strip this down and prepare this for plating. They look frozen. I use this stuff by WD-40. It's really good. Oh, that was lucky. This thing was so jammed. I can't imagine that this thing was working properly. That must have been an absolute pig of a bike to ride. I've been sitting for 3 years in this solution. Jam solid. Doesn't have to be beautiful, it just has to be functional. So this calls for drastic measures because I've got to try and get this out. Okay, cleaned out. So I have a replacement spring, and you can see there's nice tension in that. Not changing the profile, just cleaning the faces so we don't get gear sticking. So why am I not replacing the whole thing? Well, because of these fittings. This is off the bike originally. This is how it was. There's some high quality parts which I don't see in the replacement parts. I could be wrong, but I'm going to clean these up now. This connector underneath the carburetor has got a filter in it. So I've just cleaned this one. I just thought I'd show you the second one, just how much powder is in there. Drop it into some petrol, give it a clean. And I just want to check and see if there's any holes. Everything looks good. ready to install. What they've done here is they've soldered on some of this netting, and they've soldered it on there, and it's supposed to go over this hole. That's clearly broken off, so I'm going to try and unsolder it and use what I've got here as a spare, because it's perfect. Yeah, I think this is the way it goes. This is a collar that goes over. You can see the sieve is there. Right, this is phase 2 of restoring the carburetors. So I've chosen to use the light Dremel steel brush just to deburr it. You see, it doesn't put any scratches on the surface and shines it up quite nicely. I'm going to just put on the polisher now and see how shiny we can get it. Clean the wax off that. It's a very, very fine paper.